Welcome back to Bible and Blues. We did watch Taboo episode 5 tonight, and really enjoyed it. Something I've always wanted to talk about but never brought it up, but let's face it, you know, this guy's got a really great hat. Is that a cool hat or what? I mean, seriously, is that a cool hat? I mean, this thing right here, it is just really, really cool. Okay? I don't know. Maybe you don't think so, but he's got the jacket too. The jacket goes with it and everything. It's part of a set, but the hat is just really cool. Yeah, always thought so. I've gone on and on about the hat enough. That's 20 seconds on that. Okay, so the show opens up. Brace and James are having words, and James is, he's lamenting his mother a lot. He kind of put her really up on a pedestal, and it really always knocked his dad down for everything that happened with his mom. So there's some bad blood there between him and his dad, and so Brace is like, you need to know what really went on with that, because it wasn't, all your dad's fault. I mean, this is an issue that was because, your mom wasn't really right in the head. She took you and she tried to kill you when you were a baby. And, all these things, and James had kind of had enough kind of thing. So the next thing, we see him, he goes to this place called the Bethel Royal Hospital, which is where his mother is buried. It's also the asylum that his dad put her into. And he walks through, and I mean, an asylum. I mean, a mental hospital is not a pleasant place. I don't think in the best of circumstances, but at that point in time, I mean, the ideas of mental health were really horrible. There were a lot of beds there with shackles attached. Of course, we tie people down now too for their own safety and everything, but that was pretty bad. At one point in time, he's looking at a wall, and it has a picture of a hand painting of Native American style, and it really is a northwest level with looks like, I guess I'd say it was a whale. So it probably was his mom's. So anyway, so he goes off, and he's at the docks. It's kind of one of the places he goes. He sees Winter, and it's just like, everybody's scared of you. He's like, and you're not. It's like, no, you don't scare me. And he just kind of stares at her for a little bit, and she's like, stop looking at me like that. You're scaring me. So, so there you go. So back to the dealing with the gunpowder a little bit. So he gets the chlorate for the chemist gets the chlorate, and they get the people, which is the people who actually stole the saltpeter for him, and and those are the people he's going to have stirring, because it has to be stirred around the clock. You cannot stop. If you stop, it is very unstable, and it will blow. Okay, at the slightest provocation. So that's who he provides, along with his son Roger, who the chemist has figured out, is his son. So then we kind of cut away to George Kiddister again, who is the human rights activist who managed to get in the middle of this and benefit from this whole battle between the Crown and the trading company. The East India Trading Company, and so he's talking about. He shows up, and he's talking to a couple of the senior representatives, admittedly of the East India Trading Company, and they are, and he's talking about a ship called the Cornwallis, which was owned by them, and they're like, well, I thought it was about the Influence. Well, it was formerly the Influence. But the actual the ship was originally called the Cornwallis, and so he's obviously done his homework. He's had 9 years to study this up, so he's pretty aware of it. So after after this old blowout with Brace, he disappears for a few days. He's kind of, James does. And, we see James, he's in this pond. He's in this water, this pond. And, the water, he seems to have an affinity for water, and it has to do with his mother, because we figured out that his mother was the woman in black, and she would have been, face painted in the style that was her, her way of doing things as a Nootka, a member of the Nootka Nation. And James has been seeing her, or having visions of her for some time. So he sticks his face in the water and something grabs him and it's pulling him in. Now, bear in mind, we did find out from Brace that his mother tried to drown him as a baby. And so James has been gone for 2 days, right? And George Giddister goes calling on him at his office, which he hardly spends any time in. And he's not there. And we don't know what connection James has. We know James has a real issue with slaver ships. And we think he worked slave ships, and so he has that. So he might have been part of the crew of the Influence. So, and then since he's missing, Lorna Bowe is looking for him as well, and she's she's talking to Brace, and Brace is like, hey, you know what? He's not dead, and he's not going to be happy if you find him. Okay. But she goes looking. She's not going to listen. So she goes looking for him, and she goes to Zilpha and Thorn, and I guess. Thorn, she's inside, she's led inside the house, and she's sitting waiting, which is kind of the way they were doing things back then. A servant would let you in, and you would sit and wait for the person to come to you. And not like us poor folk who would just answer the door and say, come on in and have a seat. Let's have a cup of coffee and talk. But that's not the way they did things there. So she's sitting there waiting for Zilpha, because she wants to ask Zilpha if she knows where James is, and Thorn is there. Well, Thorn is still pretty messed up from his duel, and he's pretty upset based on the issues that his wife and his brother-in-law had, incestual relationships, and he's kind of the butt of the jokes of the whole thing too, to a certain extent. Because everybody rumors about it, but nobody, and so he's kind of stuck with this situation. I think he actually does love his wife, but how do you deal with it, right? And you're dealing with a time where people are, an abusive husband was nothing unusual, or really, even there was no laws against it, right? That was back when they had the rule of thumb, right? So Thorn is giving Lorna the third degree in a drunken way. He's drunk, and he's messing with her and everything, and then Zilpha shows up, and Zilpha's still bruised up and beat up from the beating that Thorn gave her. So Lorna is talking to Zilpha and Thorn now, and I'm telling you, Zilpha is not right in the head anymore. Everything that happened on that day between, the abuse that she suffered under her husband's hand, and then having the exorcist, this creepy exorcist thing happening. It really messed with her head. Okay. And I really thought she was going to kill somebody or herself that very first night. Okay. So, but she's acts very strange, and then so Lorna, they tell her that of course she has no idea where he is. Lorna asks, says, "Fine, can you call me a carriage?" And they're like, "Nope, you're on your own." There you go. So, okay, so that's what happened there. And there's happening in London at the time. There's a fake cholera outbreak happening, and basically what's happening is the the doctor, the American doctor that wants the gunpowder, has created a fake cholera outbreak and has, in order to cover for a lot of things. I mean, it's just a good opportunity to. It's a good way of doing it, especially at this time. And he, the gunpowder is ready. There's a batch of gunpowder ready, and so they're going to use the cholera outbreak as cover to get the gunpowder around. So what they do is they put the gunpowder into coffins, put them onto hearse carts, horse-drawn hearse carts, and everybody's wearing masks. Okay, because you would wear a mask because you wouldn't want to breathe in the air of the cholera and to get sick, and it would slow it down. I mean, it wouldn't stop it. I mean, if you were heavily involved in it, and you were susceptible to it, you get it. But so they are carrying the gunpowder in the coffins to take it to the American. They do have a close call with the company men, company guards, and they work their way through that. Young Robert, James's son, young Robert, gives does a nice genius little move and puts himself inside one of the coffins, so that when the guard opens up one of the coffins to look inside, he sees something in there other than gunpowder. So he sees the boy is in there, and the boy is supposed to have died of cholera. So therefore, he's like, "Oh my God!" So they get through. They transfer the gunpowder, and now the Americans have gunpowder now to continue the blockade, and James has permission to cross the blockade now when it's time for him to leave with his ship. So that very same night, Zilpha decides, it turns out I was right. Zilpha kills Thorn. She does it in a very methodical, almost surgical way of using that big, she had that, that big long needle, right? And this thing was huge. I can't even put it on the screen. It was so big, right? And she finds the space between the ribs. He's passed out drunk. Okay. He's out. She finds the space in between the ribs, and she shoves it in there and kills him. So James has returned home by this time. And all of a sudden, here comes calling Zilpha, who is actually not right in her head. And she's finally acting alive again. She comes in, she's very affectionate towards him, towards her brother, and very, very alive acting. And he's listening to her talk, and she's like, "And I killed Thorn, and just like you told me." And he stops and thinks to himself, "I didn't tell her to do it, or how to." And so, but is still his sister, and he's still incestuously in love with her. So he's like, I'm going to take care of the body, and then you're going to go back home. So it's all going to look right, because he makes sure the body goes to the American doctor, who can declare him sick from cholera. He died from cholera instead of a stab wound from his wife. So then the body gets to be burned because of, procedures and for that kind of thing. So then we find that, all this is going on. There's a lot that happened here. The farmer sold out Delaney. The farmer, the one that was raising young Robert. He sold him out not for money. It was out of guilt. He went to the priest. He did confession, and the priest went to the East India Trading Company, and for 25 pounds in silver, 25 pounds sterling, sold him up the river. So Godfrey, is there doing his job as stenographer when this report is given. he manages to get out, and he runs to James, and he tells him. And then, this is what happened, and it was the farmer that sold you out. So Delaney goes, he kills the farmer, cuts his tongue out. Okay. I should probably kind of keep track of how many people does James Delaney kill with that knife of his. He wounds quite a few, but how many does he actually kill? And so, there's been a couple, but, so he does that, and he leaves the body in the confessional for the priest to find. The priest finds him with his tongue cut out. So then James is heading over to the dock. He goes before he kills the farmer. He has to get the gunpowder out of the factory. His factory is now, he's got to clear that out. He knows the company's on its way. They managed to get it out by water because what gunpowder is still there. There's quite a bit there, and it's not stable. You can't transport it on by carts because the road, the jostling will make it explode. So they transport it by water. He takes it to some dock warehouse somewhere, I believe. So then he heads over to he's heading towards his boat. And one of the company lackeys is in a very fancy cart, horse-drawn cart, and says carriage, and says, "Hey Delaney, just so you know, this war has been declared against you." The carriage pulls away, and a few seconds later, Delaney's ship blows up. I mean, it's done. It's done. He has no ship now. So. He goes. He goes and he threatens Godfrey. It's like, why didn't you tell me, kind of thing. Apparently the guy whose thumb he cut off was actually supposed to be guarding the ship, and obviously failed in his duty. So James kills him and cuts his heart out. So. And Atticus is right there the entire time, and Atticus, he's acting all calm, cool, and collected. But as soon as James leaves, he just kind of collapses because he didn't know if he was next. James is not a stable man. Okay, so James doesn't have a boat. He doesn't have a ship. He has all the gunpowder he needs to start trading. But he doesn't have a ship to get over there. He is pretty much ready to go, and now he even has Zilpha on, with him. So, now he doesn't have a ship. He's got the gunpowder. He has Zilpha, but he can't get out, can't get away. So he gets hammered. He gets drunk. He just gets smashed, and he's at the dock again, and he's kind of he gets into the water. He's just chugging a bottle, empties the bottle, tosses it, gets into the water, wading into it, and then Winter shows up, and Winter has a bottle. Here, I brought this for you, and he takes a big long swig, and then horrible thing happens. We don't know exactly how it goes down because he just wakes up in the morning, face in the mud, literally. Still drunk, somewhat drunk. I've had days like that, admittedly. Fortunately, not in a long, long time because I haven't touched any in so darn long. So, and now Winter's dead, and she's gutted open, and she's, it's horrible. I kind of had high hopes for that girl, but no, she's dead now, and it looks like Delaney did it. And I think we're going to it's probably going to settle on that, unless the company has set him up in some way, shape, or form that way. But I don't think so. I think he actually did it in a fit of rage through this whole mess he's in. So anyway, that was the show. That was everything, and I hope you enjoyed my review of it. There, It's been a good show. There's only 2 episodes left of this, I think, is what they said. So it's a short season, 7 episodes. And so, it's going to be a long time before there's more new stuff. What show is coming up that you guys want me to review next? I started watching Legion, and I watched the pilot episode of that. That's pretty weird, very surreal. The Expanse is another one. It's on its second season. I enjoyed the first season. Would you like me to do reviews of that? So something I can pick up on now that both this one and Emerald City is about done. So I'm going to have a little bit of time. Maybe you want to hear more music. I haven't done much music at all because I've been doing these reviews, and a couple of these a week really takes up some time. So what do you want to do? Let me know in the comments below. I'm here for you as long as it's something that's not too untoward. So hey, great. Have a great night, and I hope to be talking to you again soon. Tomorrow morning we'll be doing Psalms 15. Psalm 15 will be the morning Bible reading and morning devotion. And I'd like to get some more time into rooms. I need to do another chapter of that. So God bless. Have a great day. Enjoy your evening. Friday is tomorrow.